Are you doing everything right for your health? Eating cleaner, taking supplements, maybe even using special shampoos, and yet your hair just keeps getting thinner? What if I told you that hair loss in seniors is rarely about hair itself, and almost always about what's happening inside your metabolism, your hormones, and your nighttime recovery system? Here's what's really going on inside your body. As we age, the body quietly shifts into a conservation mode. Blood flow becomes less efficient. Insulin resistance creeps in. Cortisol stays elevated at night, and the body starts prioritizing survival organs, the brain, heart, and liver, at the expense of non-essential tissues like hair follicles. That's why so many seniors experience hair thinning even when labs look normal. And here's the surprising part. The most powerful window for hair regrowth is not during the day. It's while you sleep. At night, your body enters its deepest repair cycle. Growth hormone rises, inflammation drops, stem cells activate. Hair follicles either receive the signal to regenerate or they don't. Tonight, I want to show you how one simple spoon before bed can dramatically improve that signal by addressing the root cause, not just the symptom. This isn't a gimmick, it's grounded in nutritional biochemistry, anti-inflammatory signaling, and hormonal restoration. The same pathways we use to protect the brain, support immunity, and slow biological aging. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your hair follicles like tiny gardens. You can't force plants to grow by yelling at them. You need rich soil, proper watering, and calm conditions overnight. If the soil is inflamed, if blood flow is restricted, if stress hormones are high, growth shuts down. Most hair products focus on the leaves. Tonight, we're fixing the soil. In this video, you'll learn why hair loss accelerates after 50, even without genetics, the exact nighttime hormone signals that control hair regrowth, how inflammation and insulin quietly starve hair follicles, why one specific nutrient before bed improves circulation to the scalp, and how this same habit supports better sleep, brain health, and longevity. And yes, I'll show you exactly what that spoon is, how much to use, when to take it, and who should not use it. Because the goal here isn't just thicker hair, it's restoring your body's ability to regenerate itself naturally. If that sounds like something you care about, stay with me, and if this kind of science-based practical guidance is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I share tools like this every day to help you age stronger, sharper, and healthier without medication. Let's start by understanding why hair follicles stop listening to growth signals in the first place. Here's what's really going on inside your body when hair starts thinning with age, and this is the part almost no one explains correctly. Hair follicles don't die, they go dormant. Think of each follicle like a tiny factory. When conditions are right, that factory is active, producing strong, pigmented hair. But when the environment becomes hostile, the factory doesn't shut down permanently. It powers down to save energy. Aging hair loss is not destruction, it's metabolic silence. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your town experiences repeated power shortages. What happens? Non-essential buildings lose electricity first. Street lights go out, decorative fountains shut off, only hospitals and emergency systems stay powered. Your body does the same thing. As we age, the body senses increased metabolic stress from insulin resistance, low-grade inflammation, reduced circulation, and chronic cortisol exposure. To protect survival, it redirects nutrients and blood flow toward vital organs like the brain, heart, and liver. Hair follicles fall into the non-essential category, so the first root cause of hair loss in seniors is reduced microcirculation. Research shows that aging reduces nitric oxide signaling, the molecule that tells blood vessels to relax and deliver oxygen. When scalp blood flow drops, follicles receive fewer nutrients, less oxygen, and weaker growth signals. The follicle responds by entering a resting phase called telogen, but circulation is only part of the story. The second major driver is chronic silent inflammation. This isn't the inflammation you feel as pain. It's low-level immune activation driven by insulin spikes, processed foods, poor sleep, and liver overload. Studies show that inflammatory cytokines like TNF-alpha and IL-6 directly interfere with follicle stem cells, the very cells responsible for regrowth. Inflammation tells the follicle, now is not a safe time to grow. And here's the critical mistake many seniors make. They try to stimulate growth during the day when cortisol is high and insulin is fluctuating, but hair regeneration doesn't happen in daylight. Hair regeneration is a nighttime event. At night, growth hormone rises, melatonin activates follicle stem cells. Inflammation should fall, blood vessels should relax. This is when follicles decide whether to re-enter the growth phase antigen or stay asleep. If cortisol stays high at night, if blood sugar spikes before bed, if inflammation remains elevated, the follicle never receives the safe-to-grow signal. That's why shampoos fail, that's why oils disappoint, that's why expensive treatments rarely work long-term. They're shouting at the follicle instead of changing the environment it lives in, and this is where tonight's solution comes in. There is one specific nutrient taken in a very specific way before bed that simultaneously lowers nighttime inflammation, improves microcirculation to the scalp, supports melatonin and growth hormone, and restores the metabolic signal follicles need to wake up. We're not forcing growth, we're removing the brakes. If this explanation is making sense so far, consider subscribing. I share science-backed strategies like this every day to help you restore your health naturally, from the inside out. Next, we need to talk about blood sugar and insulin at night, because even one small mistake here can completely block hair regrowth while you sleep. And once you see this, you'll never look at bedtime snacks the same way again. Now, let's talk about a mistake that quietly shuts down hair regrowth every single night, even in people who eat healthy. And that mistake is elevated insulin before bed. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Insulin is not just a blood sugar hormone. It's a storage signal. When insulin is high, your body shifts into store and protect mode, not repair and regenerate mode. Hair regrowth requires the opposite state. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your house needs overnight repairs. The workers can only come when the house is quiet, the lights are dim, and no one is moving furniture around. Now, imagine someone keeps turning the lights back on every hour and dragging furniture through the room. That's what nighttime insulin spikes do to your body. When you eat sugar, bread, cereal, fruit, or even healthy snacks late in the evening, insulin rises. That insulin surge blocks growth hormone, suppresses melatonin, and keeps cortisol elevated longer into the night. And here's the key point most people don't realize. Growth hormone is one of the primary drivers of hair follicle repair. Studies show that growth hormone stimulates follicle stem cells, improves collagen production around the follicle, and enhances blood flow to the scalp. But growth hormone only rises when insulin is low. Low insulin is the green light for regeneration. This is why seniors often notice thinning hair even when calories are controlled. It's not how much you eat, it's when insulin stays elevated. Now, here's where this becomes critical. Many people think, I need a snack before bed so I don't wake up hungry. But the type of snack matters more than the calories. A carbohydrate-based snack, even a small one, triggers insulin. That insulin tells the body, do not repair, do not regenerate, store energy instead. Hair follicles hear that signal loud and clear. Research in metabolic aging shows that nighttime insulin resistance increases with age. That means even foods that didn't spike insulin at 40 can spike it at 60 or 70. The body becomes slower at clearing glucose and follicles pay the price, but here's the good news. There is a way to calm insulin without going to bed hungry and at the same time activate hair regrowth signals. This is where healthy fats come in. Unlike carbohydrates, certain fats do not spike insulin. In fact, they do the opposite. They stabilize blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and support melatonin release. And when taken in a small strategic amount before bed, they create the ideal internal environment for hair repair. This is why the 1 spoon before bed works, not because it's magical, but because it keeps insulin low while feeding repair pathways. We're not adding calories randomly, we're sending a metabolic signal: low insulin, low inflammation, high growth hormone, improved circulation. That's the combination hair follicles need to wake up, and if this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day to help you understand your body and restore health naturally without medications or extreme measures. Next, we need to look at the nighttime hormone trio: growth hormone, melatonin, and cortisol, and how one specific fat before bed helps align all three in your favor. Because hair regrowth doesn't happen by chance, it happens when the hormonal orchestra plays in harmony. Now let's connect the dots. Because hair regrowth is not controlled by one hormone, it's controlled by a nighttime hormonal conversation. And for seniors, this conversation often breaks down. The 3 main players are growth hormone, melatonin, and cortisol. When these 3 are aligned, hair follicles receive a powerful signal to regenerate. When they're out of sync, follicles stay asleep, no matter what you put on your scalp. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Growth hormone is your primary repair hormone. It stimulates tissue regeneration, collagen formation, and stem cell activation inside hair follicles. But growth hormone is only released in meaningful amounts during deep sleep, and only when insulin is low. Melatonin is not just a sleep hormone, it's a potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory signal. Research shows melatonin receptors are present directly on hair follicles. When melatonin rises at night, it protects follicle stem cells from oxidative stress and tells them it's safe to grow. Cortisol is the wild card. Cortisol should be high in the morning and low at night. But in many seniors, cortisol stays elevated into the evening due to stress, inflammation, blood sugar swings, and poor circadian signaling. An elevated nighttime cortisol is one of the strongest hair growth blockers we know of. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of growth hormone and melatonin as the construction crew and cortisol as the emergency alarm system. As long as the alarm is blaring, the crew is not allowed to work, no matter how skilled they are. This is why so many people say, I sleep 8 hours but nothing is improving. Sleep quantity is not the same as sleep quality and hormonal alignment. Now here's the breakthrough. There is one natural compound that directly influences all 3 of these hormones at night without spiking insulin. That compound is extra virgin olive oil, and before you dismiss that, let me explain the science. Extra virgin olive oil is rich in oleic acid and polyphenols. These compounds have been shown in research to reduce nighttime inflammation, lower cortisol, and improve melatonin signaling. In fact, Mediterranean diet studies consistently show better sleep quality, lower inflammatory markers, and healthier hair and skin with higher olive oil intake. But timing matters. When taken earlier in the day, olive oil supports cardiovascular health. When taken before bed in a small amount, it sends a different signal. It tells the liver we're safe, blood sugar is stable. It tells the brain reduce stress signaling. It tells the body enter repair mode, and this is critical for seniors because the liver plays a central role in hormone metabolism. A stressed liver keeps cortisol elevated and interferes with melatonin production. Olive oil supports liver detox pathways and improves insulin sensitivity, creating the internal calm needed for regeneration. This is why 1 spoon before bed works. Not 3, not 5, not random amounts, just enough to stabilize blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and allow growth hormone and melatonin to rise naturally. And if this is helping you understand your body in a new way, consider subscribing. I share practical science-based strategies like this every day to help you restore health, energy, and longevity naturally. Next, we're going deeper because hair regrowth also depends on scalp blood flow and follicle nutrition. And this same spoon plays a powerful role there as well. Once you see this connection, the picture becomes very clear. Now let's talk about something most people completely overlook when it comes to hair regrowth: microirculation. Because even if hormones are perfect, hair cannot grow without blood flow. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Every single hair follicle is surrounded by tiny blood vessels called capillaries. These capillaries deliver oxygen, amino acids, minerals like zinc and iron, and signaling molecules that tell the follicle how fast and how strong to grow. With aging, these capillaries become stiff, narrow, and inflamed. This is not a scalp problem, it's a vascular problem. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine trying to water your garden with a hose that's partially clogged. You can turn the water on full force, but only a trickle comes out. The plants don't die immediately. They just grow weaker, thinner, and slower. That's exactly what happens to hair follicles as circulation declines. Now, here's the key physiological insight. Aging reduces nitric oxide, the molecule that relaxes blood vessels and improves circulation. At the same time, oxidative stress increases, damaging the lining of blood vessels, the endothelium. When endothelial function declines, blood flow to the scalp drops, even if overall blood pressure looks normal. And studies show that poor scalp circulation directly correlates with hair thinning and follicle miniaturization. So the question becomes, how do we safely improve microirculation at night without stimulants, without medications, and without raising cortisol? This is where extra virgin olive oil becomes incredibly powerful. The polyphenols in olive oil, especially ulepan and hydroxyol, have been shown to improve endothelial function. They reduce oxidative damage, increase nitric oxide availability, and allow blood vessels to relax. But again, timing matters. At night, when cortisol should be low and parasympathetic rest and repair mode is active, the body becomes more responsive to circulation-enhancing signals. 1 small spoon before bed helps shift the body into vascular relaxation. Blood vessels soften, capillaries open, oxygen delivery improves, and hair follicles finally receive what they've been missing. There's another layer here that's especially important for seniors. Hair follicles require cholesterol-based signaling molecules to produce hormones locally. Olive oil provides healthy monounsaturated fats that support cell membrane flexibility. Flexible membranes allow follicles to respond better to growth signals like IGF-1 and growth hormone. Rigid, inflamed membranes block communication. This is why hair regrowth is not just about nutrients. It's about cellular responsiveness, and here's something fascinating. Research on Mediterranean populations shows not only thicker hair with age, but slower graying and reduced follicle miniaturization. This is not genetics alone, it's long-term vascular and anti-inflammatory support, much of it coming from olive oil. Now, I want to be very clear, this is not about drinking oil, this is not about excess calories, this is about one controlled spoon used intentionally as a signal, not a food. When done correctly, it improves circulation, supports hormone signaling, and nourishes follicles at their foundation. Next, we need to address something just as important, the liver. Because if the liver is overloaded, hormones stay imbalanced, inflammation rises, and hair follicles remain stuck, no matter how good circulation becomes. And this is where the before-bed timing becomes even more powerful. Now, we need to talk about an organ that almost no one connects to hair regrowth, the liver. Because if the liver is overloaded, hair follicles will not regenerate no matter what supplements you take. Here's what's really going on inside your body. The liver is your metabolic control center. It regulates blood sugar at night, clears excess hormones, detoxifies inflammatory compounds, and determines whether cortisol stays elevated or falls so repair can begin. Hair follicles are extremely sensitive to this environment. When the liver is under stress from medications, processed foods, alcohol, insulin resistance, or chronic inflammation, it becomes less efficient at clearing used cortisol and estrogen, like compounds. Those hormones linger in circulation, and lingering stress hormones send a very clear message to hair follicles. Stay in survival mode. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your liver like a nighttime cleanup crew. While you sleep, it's supposed to clear trash, reset systems, and prepare the body for regeneration the next day. But if the cleanup crew is overwhelmed, trash piles up, inflammation rises, hormones stay imbalanced, repair gets postponed. Hair follicles are one of the first systems to be paused. Research in aging physiology shows that impaired liver detox pathways are associated with higher oxidative stress, poor insulin sensitivity, and reduced stem cell activation, all of which directly affect hair growth cycles, and this is especially important for seniors. As we age, liver blood flow decreases, enzyme efficiency drops, the margin for metabolic error becomes smaller. That means small nightly stressors like late eating, alcohol, or blood sugar swings have a much bigger impact than they did decades earlier. Now, here's the key insight. Extra virgin olive oil supports the liver in 3 critical ways. First, it improves insulin sensitivity. When insulin is stable at night, the liver can focus on detoxification instead of emergency glucose management. Second, olive oil polyphenols activate antioxidant pathways that protect liver cells from oxidative damage. This reduces inflammatory signaling that would otherwise spill into the bloodstream and affect hair follicles. Third, and this is rarely discussed, olive oil supports bile flow. Bile is how the body eliminates used hormones, toxins, and inflammatory compounds. Poor bile flow means hormone recycling, and recycled stress hormones keep follicles locked in dormancy. 1 spoon before bed gently stimulates bile movement without stressing digestion. It supports overnight clearance, not stimulation. And here's why timing matters. Again, at night, the liver is naturally more active in detox and repair. When you support it during this window, you amplify its effectiveness. This creates a cleaner hormonal environment by morning, one that favors regeneration instead of inflammation. This is why people who follow this protocol often report better sleep, clearer thinking, less morning stiffness, and over time, improvements in hair texture and density. Because hair regrowth is not isolated, it's a reflection of systemic metabolic health. If this explanation is resonating, consider subscribing. I share science-based strategies like this every day to help you restore your health naturally by fixing the root cause, not chasing symptoms. Next, we'll put everything together into a simple, safe before bed protocol. The exact spoon, dosage, timing, who should use it, and how to enhance results with sleep and light exposure. This is where clarity replaces confusion. Now, let's bring everything together into a simple, precise, and safe protocol, because knowledge only matters if you can use it consistently. This is the exact way to apply the one spoon before bed strategy, so it supports hair regrowth, sleep, hormones, and healthy aging without stressing your system. Here's the foundation. The spoon is extra virgin olive oil, and quality matters. You want cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil, ideally in a dark glass bottle. This ensures the polyphenols, the compounds responsible for anti-inflammatory and circulation benefits, are intact. The amount is 1 tablespoon, not more, not less. This is not about calories, it's about signaling. Take it 30 to 60 minutes before bed. This timing allows blood sugar to stabilize, cortisol to fall, and melatonin to rise naturally. Taking it too early reduces the hormonal effect. Taking it right as you lie down may interfere with digestion in sensitive individuals. You can take it straight or, if needed, with a small pinch of cinnamon or a few drops of lemon. Not honey, not fruit, not bread. Now, let's talk about who benefits most. This protocol is especially effective for seniors who experience hair thinning rather than sudden patch loss, wake up at night or feel unrested in the morning, have a history of insulin resistance or belly fat, take multiple medications that stress the liver, notice dry skin, brittle hair, or slow healing. If you have gallbladder disease or are on fat malabsorption medications, this should be discussed with your physician first. This is about supporting physiology, not overriding it. Now, let's enhance the results. First enhancer, light exposure. Get natural daylight in your eyes within 30 minutes of waking. This anchors your circadian rhythm, allowing cortisol to peak in the morning and fall properly at night, which directly improves hair regrowth signals. Second enhancer, protein earlier in the day. Hair follicles need amino acids, but heavy protein at night can raise insulin. Prioritize protein at breakfast and lunch. Dinner should be lighter and earlier. Third enhancer, no late carbohydrates. Even healthy carbs at night can block growth hormone. Keep evenings low carb and calm. Fourth enhancer, sleep temperature. A slightly cooler room improves melatonin release and growth hormone pulses, both critical for follicle regeneration. Now, here's what to expect. This is not an overnight miracle. In the first 7 to 14 days, most people notice better sleep and calmer evenings. Within 3 to 6 weeks, hair texture often improves, less dryness, less shedding. True regrowth takes 8 to 12 weeks because hair cycles are slow by design. Consistency matters more than intensity. 1 spoon every night, calm environment, aligned hormones. And if this protocol feels clear and actionable, consider subscribing. I share strategies like this every day to help you restore health naturally using physiology, not force. Finally, remember this: hair regrowth is not a cosmetic event. It's a signal that your body feels safe enough to regenerate. And that's a powerful place to be. Let's take a step back and bring everything together, because what we've talked about today is bigger than hair. Hair regrowth is not a surface-level issue. It's a biological signal. It's your body saying, I have enough energy, balance, and safety to invest in renewal. What we uncovered is that thinning hair in seniors is rarely about bad genes or aging alone. It's about metabolic stress, nighttime hormone disruption, inflammation, impaired circulation, and an overworked liver quietly shifting the body into survival mode. And when survival mode is on, regeneration is off. We saw that hair follicles don't die, they go dormant. We learned that insulin spikes at night block growth hormone. We understood how cortisol, melatonin, and growth hormone must work together for repair to happen. We uncovered the role of microcirculation and why blood flow to the scalp matters more than products. And we connected everything back to liver health, the metabolic hub that determines whether repair can occur at all. The solution was not extreme, it was precise. 1 tablespoon of high-quality extra virgin olive oil before bed taken intentionally creates the internal conditions hair follicles need to wake up. Lower inflammation, better circulation, calmer cortisol, stronger melatonin, more effective growth hormone signaling. And the beauty of this approach is that it doesn't just support hair, it supports better sleep, clearer thinking, healthier blood vessels, improved insulin sensitivity, and long-term longevity. Because when the body feels safe at night, it repairs everything, not just hair. Now, here's your challenge. Don't try to change everything at once. Start with 1 habit tonight. Try the spoon. Keep the evening calm. Turn down the lights, avoid late sugar, and observe how your body responds. Track your sleep, notice morning energy. Pay attention to hair texture over time. This is how functional medicine works, not by forcing outcomes, but by listening to biology. And if this video added value to your life, I invite you to like it and subscribe. You'll be joining a community of people who are serious about optimizing their health. Naturally using science, not shortcuts. Remember this, aging does not mean decline, it means adapting your strategy. And when you support your body the way it was designed to function, regeneration is not only possible, it's expected. I'll see you in the next